So I am KB with Nerdophiles. How are each of you?
Good.
We are fine.
Uh, awesome. Okay, so let me dive right in. For each of you, before signing on to this particular iteration of this, very, very high profile case, how familiar were each of you with Michael just as a novelist and as this case, and excuse me, pertaining to this case? And I'll start with you, Vincent.
Well, I only knew the documentary. I only knew the documentary, the staircase that was, on before. So I was like a big fan of the documentary. And what I really liked about the documentary is the fact that, I didn't know what to think at the end and all the discussions I had with my friends about it. But before that, I didn't know Michael Peterson as a writer. And on that show, like the HBO show, you're gonna see like a lot of new information about this guy because there's so much to say about him.
Ooh, and what about you, Tim?
I didn't know anything about this thing at all. When they offered it to me, I called Parker Posey, who I'd done, I think, 3 movies with. And Parker was like, "You have to do this. It's the greatest. You have to watch the documentary. And you have to read this book. And you've got to." So anyhow, and sort of was amazed at it once I started diving in.
That's so interesting because I only knew Michael as a novelist. I didn't, I knew obviously about the case, but I knew him as a novelist. I have not yet seen the documentary. So you guys like having me watch this actually like sparked something in me. And so I'm going to go back and watch the docuseries probably later on this week because I'm just so fascinated by the telling of this story. So for each of you, how did you balance kind of creating your own unique portrayal of these real life individuals with some of that groundwork that you may have seen in the docuseries? And I can start with you again, Vincent.
Well, I think it's a question of balance. I was lucky enough, to speak with the actual Jean Xavier, and we spoke for hours and hours, and he told me that was important for him. So I asked him, so what is the most important thing for you? So what do I have to do, or what can I do for you not to feel betrayed, by my performance? And he told me, well, you have to respect my values, and these values are about trying to stay as objective as possible. So I could only be inspired by the guy and to really pay attention to what was important for him. And he told me also something else about the work of being a documentarian, about how it is important, to keep a distance with the people that you're filming and how to create reports as well with the people that you want to interview, because you're going to create like a safe space for the people to confess, to talk, to open themselves to you. But on the other hand, how can you keep a certain objectivity when you spend that much time with people? And in the staircase case, he spent hours and hours and hours with the Peterson family. And he's human, so at some point, he started to feel things. So it's all these things mixed together that I try to bring in my performance, and this is why the staircase, I'm going to say, universe or dimension is so interesting.
Yeah. And it's so interesting for you too, Tim, because Bill is so close to the situation, being his brother, but also being a lawyer. It's a hard dynamic. So just chat a little bit about the balance of creating this on-screen, version of Bill as well.
I mean, it's a fascinating question. It's fascinating also because so much of, I think, the general knowledge we have comes from the documentary, but the documentary is an artificial construct. And there was a moment, when they had to change tapes or when the camera shut off. And I'm fascinated with what happened in the moment when those cameras went off. How were they behaving differently? I do think he wasn't a lawyer who specialized in criminal law, but he was a lawyer. And so I think there was probably a little tension about the tension that just a brother would feel when his brother is on trial, but also of a lawyer wanting to make sure that he was represented in the best way possible. Like Vincent, I had the joy of getting to spend some time with Bill who on the phone, and who was incredibly open and answered all kinds of questions for me. And, you know, I've lost myself in the answer a little bit, but I will just say that what became rapidly apparent was that within this true crime thing, there's fundamentally a love story about a family trying to survive this situation. And that was something that Antonio really helped create on the set. And we, I think, all felt that. Vincent and I started crying like little babies when they wrapped both of us, because it was just a gorgeous experience to make this.
Well, let me tell you, it is a fascinating miniseries. I really cannot wait for everyone to see it. Thank you to both of you for your portrayals, and thank you for just taking time to chat with Nerdophiles. Really appreciate it.